Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to be here and bringing you through Horse Class, the Riding Through the Years workshop with the Wise Riders Club and founder and host of the club, Andrea Wadey.
Hi,
We
everyone.
are we are really excited to be able to connect with you here and to be bringing together this community. This is something I founded Horse Class almost 14 years ago now. And from the very beginning, the riders that we had coming in were riders that were often starting later in life or were returning to horses later in life. And at Horse Class, we've always prided ourselves in bringing education across riding how to, training how to, for these riders whose really their passion and their reason for riding is the connection with the horse, the enjoyment of being in nature and being with the horse, and wanting to grow and really be the best version of themselves. And I am so grateful for Andrea, who has been one of our instructors here at Horse Class for many years, as she got this idea, and may I say also the courage to share her personal experiences as she crossed the thresh mark of 50 and started shifting the way that she was doing things personally in her way with her own horses, professionally, and then sharing that with her students. And really, this has grown so organically into the club. And I am just so honored to be able to host it here through Horse Class.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been wild actually of just how this has developed into such a beautiful club of people all around the world who have a lot in common, a huge amount in common. So it's just really exciting to be here, and we've just been doing the Wise Riders Club free workshop that I know many of you have been involved. In fact, we had 6,500 people who, just like you, felt like somehow this resonated with them. And I think in general, once we get past 50, the industry, the equine industry, really does forget about us a little bit, or puts us in a certain box. And I was having none of it. I was like, okay, I've had enough of this. I don't want to wear those clothes. And I don't want to be told that I'm either just need to stay in a walk, or that I should, get on with it, get going, and keep doing all the things that I'd always done when I thought I just don't want to do that anymore. So yay to the 6,500 of you that felt that resonated with them and you signed up for this free workshop. It's the first time actually that we've opened the membership to the Wise Riders Club, and we'll be telling you more about the actual club later in the webinar. But we have so much to talk about. It's going to be amazing, and we have a lot of the actual members from the Wise Riders Club are here today. So hi guys, thank you for being here. And those of you who watched the first video with Steph, she's here on the call today, so that's exciting. She's in the audience watching. So thank you, Steph, for being here and being so brave in sharing your story with everyone in the first video. If you haven't seen it yet, you need to get back and watch that. And video 2 was with Physio Fee, who's kept me riding for years, and she's also in the audience. So thank you both for being here. But I just want to really say welcome to the community, the people that have come through this free workshop. It's been so great getting to know you through your comments, and there was just such a common theme running through your comments, and that is that you guys love horses, absolutely love horses, are super supportive of each other, and that's what the Wise Riders Club is actually about, is supporting each other through change, basically. So it's been fabulous getting to know you. I'm just going to give you a quick reminder of the WISE formula. We're not going to be going into it in depth today, but for those of you who are catching up on the videos, the WISE formula is something that I invented for myself when I realized I didn't want to start climbing up on young horses anymore, even though I do from time to time, but in general, I just didn't want to do that anymore. So the WISE formula is what W is for why. Why do you want to do what you're doing with horses? I is for intuition. We all know how important that is. How many times have you said to yourself, I knew I shouldn't have done that? S is for safety. Really important. And we're going to talk about that later in terms of confidence. And E is for evaluation. So when you're trying something new, you can look at it afterwards and think, do I really want to do that again? And then we have the backbone of all of it, which is the 1% rule. This is where you allow yourself to break things down into small tasks, just like you do for your horses. So that's what started this whole amazing journey into the Wise Riders Club, but it's grown into something so much more with amazing people from all around the world. So welcome to all the new people from the free workshop. It's been amazing. So,
and
today,
I want to just hop in because
yeah.
just a quick announcement. We have so much that's going to be happening here on this call. So very soon, Lisa Pulum is going to be joining us. We have Catherine, who will go in the background, but you are just seeing her pop up. She is going to be choosing the winners because we have two prizes that we're going to be giving away on this call. We have a Tipperary vest, so a safety vest for riding, and then we also have the toxin helmet sensor. So we'll tell you more about those, but just an extra little incentive to stay here with us. And I'm going to turn this over, Andrea, to you. And I'll be here in the background, and I'll be popping back in to see you guys throughout this call.
Thank you, Callie, and thank you, Catherine. Honestly, I don't know what any of us at Horse Class would do without Catherine. They're good prizes. I want the vest. Pick me. So, as Callie mentioned, we are going to be spending time today with the amazing Lisa Pulum from Stable Minded Coaching. Lisa is incredible. There she is, but I'm going to give her a little bit of an intro. So, I met Lisa several years ago, and I was in Pennsylvania teaching, and I just noticed some of the things that she was doing and saying, and how she was going really deep about confidence with equestrians. And I thought, wow, that is a really big piece and it's really important. So she came to my attention then. But her deep understanding of what makes us tick, especially as older riders, and how we can make tangible changes today, well, it's incredible. It's beyond compare. Lisa comes to you as a seasoned mental health professional, working both as a trauma-informed coach and therapist. And she's been trained as a life breakthrough coach, Natural Lifemanship Institute, assisted coach, so many things that I can't list. That means we are in super safe hands. But what I really like about her, she's known really throughout the industry of being able to simplify the brain-body relationship and the connection. And that's the piece that I think as older riders, it's really important to us because things change. I have ridden since I was 2 years old. I'd get on any horse, do anything. And I never thought I would change. I thought I'd be like that till the last day I rode. Well, it doesn't work out like that. So Lisa's really skilled at helping students navigate through fear, anxiety, stress, and trauma. So welcome, Lisa, and thank you so much for being here.
I'm so glad to be here. So glad. You know, this is my passion as a horse person and as a mental health professional, which I feel like I'm more horse than mental health, but
yeah. Well, you make huge differences to people. But what I love about you, and we're going to talk a bit more about this later, is you've walked the walk. You've actually been there with your horse, and you and I had a lesson together. I helped you for a little bit where you were like, oh, I'm now in the shoes of my clients. I know how this feels. And I actually think that's what makes people great teachers, is when they've had the same experiences as some of their students. So I'm going to dive right on in there. I'm just seeing things pop up. We've got someone from New Zealand. Hey, Julie. Annette from the Netherlands. Calgary, Alberta. Yay. I love it. All around the world. So, Lisa, straight to it. How do we turn fear around? You know, when you get butterflies, you're about to go riding, or you genuinely feel scared.
Yeah.
How do we turn that around? Where do we start?
That is a loaded question, Andrea.
I'm going straight for the big bits. Yeah.
You're going to go straight to it. And
Yeah.
I'm going to answer that in a roundabout way and start with a little story.
I love it.
I was at
Thank you.
a local horse show over the weekend and got to watch what's called the Shetland Pony Arena Derby. There were a dozen half pints on these little horses taking off like crazy and going, going, going. And I just thought they have no fear. Like there's no fear. They're just like ready to go as fast as they can, as wild as they can. And at the end of the race, the horses kept going and two came off. And
Oh,
I thought, gosh, it's exhilarating to watch it from this perspective as a second season equestrian, because we want to be that child.
yeah.
But right, we want to be that child and like hop on in the middle and look fearless. But the reality is there were a whole bunch of those little kiddos that were probably terrified.
Yeah, true.
Yet they didn't have the knowledge, they didn't have the life experience to say, I shouldn't do this. And the ones that did weren't on those ponies.
Yeah.
So while the adults can stand by and be like, I want to be that, the reality is like we have too much life under our belt. We have too much experience, and we have too much at risk that changes how we show up. And this is something you go through with wise riders all the time. So I like to say that we should not try to eliminate fear from our lives. The goal is not to be fearless,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I've said this before. Let's see if I get it right. So there's a saying that fear is false evidence appearing real.
Appearing real. Yeah.
And I think that's a crock, right? It's not false evidence appearing real. It is felt emotions
Yeah.
seeking attunement and regulation, right? Like
Ooh, yeah.
it is our body saying, I am afraid. Now, whether or not that fear feels rational, your body and brain working together as an integrated unit is perceiving from a nervous system perspective that something is dangerous here. Something is risky for me in this moment. And the idea that we should just like throw a leg over the saddle and ride on and, buck up a little missy and pull yourself up by your bootstraps and do it fearless doesn't ever end well.
No. No.
Right.
Yeah.
And because it is not, we're not hopping on a motorcycle. We're hopping on another sentient being who has a survival system at play that's even more activated as a prey animal than we are as a human being.
Yeah.
So I could go a little bit deeper into the science of it if you want me to keep going on.
Sure.
Okay.
I want to climb inside your head. Yeah.
No. Well, no, you don't really want to do that, I don't think, but
Definitely don't want to get in mine.
no. My head. So it very simply put, the polyvagal theory, I feel like really paints the picture for us as riders, that the polyvagal theory, which was developed by a man by the name of Stephen Porges, recognized actually through working with infants that the vagus nerve goes from your brain stem at the base of your neck through the core of your body to your major organs. And under the threat of harm, that vagus nerve activates in what we know as the sympathetic nervous system. And I remember sympathetic by the word S, which is also survival. So when we feel a threat of harm, and it's our perception of it, the survival system kicks into gear. The brainstem activates, and the top part of our brain flips its lid and is not thinking. All clear thoughts are going out the window, and the nervous system is trying to determine, can I fight through this? Can I flight through this? And if I can't, then I need to freeze because it's too much, right? And the symptoms of that survival system at work are things that we know as nervous jitters. So some of those little kids
Anxiety.
getting on the ponies were feeling dry mouth, sweaty armpits, clammy hands. My hands are clammy right now. My fingertips are cold because I'm live.
Yeah.
This is not a
Yeah.
threatening situation, but it is nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah.
The room can start spinning. You start like you can't pick up sounds like the birds. You don't hear the birds.
Yeah.
Like you kind of go
Hyper focus.
hyper focus.
Yeah.
You can get a warm sensation in your body. Your belly can do butterflies and flip-flops. And you could have digestive issues.
Oh yeah, that's always a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think, there's probably not anyone maybe a few here that have never had an experience where they felt nervous, but how do we move past this? Because if people are experiencing fear or nervousness, a bit of butterflies, if they only ever listen to that and they've stood back and gone, look, this isn't rational. Yes, we all know the risks. We know that putting your foot in a stirrup is inherently risky, as is getting in your car every day, but we don't feel the same thing. And some people that have nerves have never been in a big horse wreck. Thank God. Some have. How do we move on from this? We've acknowledged it. Okay, I've got these symptoms. I feel this, but how do we then move past this and get on the horse?
Yeah, I think it is one, becoming aware of what's happening in the environment and happening in you. I use, like you have the WISE Riders acronym, I use something called ARISE. And
Okay.
so A is for awareness, what's happening in the environment and what's happening in me. And if all
Nice.
is good, then keep moving forward, right? But
Yeah.
if I come into that environment already trigger stacked because of what I'm going through in my personal life, I might need to make a different decision. So to answer your question simply, there is not a like formula that says do this, do this, do this,
Sure.
and every time. It is a like theory, a foundation and a framework of like, okay, so what's going on with me? What's going on in the horse? What are we capable of in this current environment?
Yeah.
And then the R is for reflect. What's happening in both those emotions? What are you feeling? And what are you sensing in your body? Like check in with your nervous system and say, whoa, I am like way too jittery right now. I need to do things that tend to that nervous system to bring some calm back into my life.
Yeah.
And there's lots of ways that we can talk about how to get that calm. And then the I is identify what is the belief here? And is it a helpful belief or a hurtful belief? Sometimes just switching that belief from I can't to I can, or using your 1% rule,
Yeah.
right? That is the cognitive work, but the cognitive work won't work if the nervous system is in survival. So if you're skipping past what's happening in your body just to kind of grin and bear it, it's not going to work.
Yeah, that whole fake it till you make it, it's like, it just doesn't work. Because the horse is going, you might think you're faking it, but I know different. Yeah.
Right. And then the S is strategize. What are your options? And that's where your WISE Rider formula can kick in because like, let's take inventory here. And then the E is engage. What's the next thing you can do?
Yeah.
And
I like that.
I'll give an example. The other day, my daughter and I were out running errands and I pull like in and through to a parking spot and it was a tight spot. And as I pull in, the car next to us shuddered as though I just hit the car, but there was no impact feel on the two of us. But we both looked at each other like, did we just hit the car? And like we had a complete nervous system response, sweaty, clammy, dry mouth, shaky. I was like, Kate, get out of the car and walk around just to look. There was no bump into the car. It was that the car door on the other side had slammed and the people who were getting out.
But your body responded, and that can happen. The horse can just lift his head and, your adrenaline can go up.
Right.
So, yeah.
So,
yeah.
So in that case, the two of us were already trigger stacked because of the things that precipitated in the week earlier. And so our emotions, our body, we were already spent. And so our reaction to that situation took about 15 or 20 minutes for us to come down and nothing even happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I
And
can,
so when, yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
You just reminded me of my favorite Mark Twain quote. And that is, it goes something like, I have lived through some terrible things in my life, and some of them actually happened.
Yeah.
You know,
That's so good.
and that's where, I want to focus a little bit on the what ifs, because I think, that's a great understanding of how our nervous system works and why. But I think a lot of people find that they're just a little bit triggered. It's the what ifs. What if I get on and he spooks today? What if he bucks? What if that happens? How can we tackle what ifs? Because they seem to be the one, in the 6,500 people that are in the workshop reading the comments. Lots and lots of people said, I just can't stop running the what ifs in my head.
Yeah.
What
Oh,
advice do you have that they could focus on for that?
I can relate. I mean, I struggle with this all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think getting over the what ifs is the answer.
Right. Interesting.
It is counter to survival. The what if question is an effort to assure safety. It is an effort to be forward thinking and plan ahead. And everything else in our middle age and older life has been about planning ahead and anticipating and preparing, right? The real trouble is that when the what if starts to elicit the traumatic response in our bodies, and the nervous jitters kick in and the avoidance tactics take over. So can you make it smaller? Can you release the expectation you have in your mind? Can you ask somebody for help? This is where community becomes a really important
Yeah.
part, right?
Yeah.
Is there somebody you can be vulnerable with and say, hey, like, I'll give an example. I had a riding lesson, not on my own horse, but another horse. It's been a while since I've gone down to the field to get this other mare. And I was nervous. I was nervous about falling in the mud. This is not a life or death issue, but this is a big issue for me because it's happened. So, preparedness. I hardly ever go to the barn, especially if there's mud, without a change of clothes. So, all the way, the whole gear in a bag in the car. So then when I start walking down to the field and there's mud, I can say to myself, well, if you fall, you'll get up out of the mud, you'll go back to the bathroom, you'll get changed, and you'll have half of the riding lesson you had, or you'll pretend like you're a 10-year-old and ride muddy.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're going to play the what if out, what can you do to prepare yourself and think through what you will do in response to the what if? Don't let the what if just hang, but
Nice.
actually make the follow-up plan to the what if. So let's take that, go down to get the horse. And now I'm dealing with the mud. Okay, I got the boots, I got the clothes. What if she, drags me through? Well, I could let go of the lead rope. She's still safe. She's in the field. There will be somebody else
Yeah.
at the barn. I can ask for help. Who can
Yeah.
I ask for help? I could say to a barn mate, even text them ahead of time and say, hey, I'm a little worried about heading out to the field to get my horse. Any chance that you're going to be around that day?
Yeah.
And can swing down with me in this situation. So our what ifs are a cry for help. It's our body saying, please protect me, please take care of me. And if we
Yeah.
feel not capable of doing that ourselves, who can we ask?
Yeah. I think that's a really good point, actually, with the what ifs, and having that sort of mental conversation with yourself. Well, what if I get to the yard and I think I can't ride today? Well, so what? Don't ride today. It's not the end of the world. But we tend to just beat ourselves up all the time with the guilt. I should be able to do this. I used to be able to do it. Therefore, I should be able to do it. And I think a thing that we tend to forget is actually how wise we all are and how much life experience we do have, and things that we've lived through. My God, I think everyone's got stuff that would make you know, their hair stand on end when they remember it, but it's like they lived through it, they managed. And somehow horses can just really bring out that way of beating ourselves up. And that's why I talk about the 1% rule a lot. You know, okay, let's say, for instance, someone is, we've had this in the Wise Riders Club, someone who was like, once I'm up and on the horse, I'm absolutely fine. But when I'm thinking about it and grooming and tacking up and getting on, I can really feel anxious. And the horse is picking up on it, of course, because they know. And I talk to people about breaking things down into the 1% rule, just like the way we train horses. Allow yourself to go, you know what, just today, I'm just going to sit on the mounting block and have that horse walk up and down, or I'll lead them up, sit down, stroke the horse and go back. It's like, guess what? Nobody cares if you don't ride today.
Right.
Nobody cares. But if you can break this down into 20 different tiny sessions where, like you would with your horse, you do a little bit, bank the good feeling, feel good about it, and then come back the next day and try again. I can't tell you how many of our members, and in fact, some of them are here. So if this has been any of you guys, I've seen a couple of names pop up where there's been similar stuff, where you've broken something down. Tell us about it in the chat box, because it's really, really successful. And that helps those what ifs. Or what if? Well, actually, it doesn't matter, because all I'm going to do today is stand on the top of the mounting block and scratch my horse's neck. Oh, but what if tomorrow? Well, tomorrow's tomorrow. Let's just do one day at a time and break it down. It seems to be working.
Yeah. And I do think it works well for people who have the freedom of time and then very little external pressure around them, right? But I've worked with, I'm working with 3 different clients who that is like increasing their stuckness, because they are like, okay, so I'm staying within my window of tolerance for what I'm comfortable doing, and I'm achieving this goal, but there's some deeper issue that is keeping them from going to the next step. So especially people who are caught up in avoidance as a survival mechanism. And for those folks, what I end up exploring with them is, how long has the avoidance survival pattern been in place, and in how many parts of your life is it in place?
Yeah.
And we end up talking a lot about what's happening in personal life.
Yeah, for sure.
And then that is informing the guilt narrative, the shame narrative, the avoidance behavior. And it becomes this, like, our horses become a real partnership with us, and they expose our issues.
Oh, yeah. They're a mirror.
While they have their own issues that we're working through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's why it's important to have a little bit of structure, have some plans. That's why in the Wise Riders Club, in our community section, you know, we'll often talk about different people's plans, how they're going to work through something, or someone will come on and go, no way, it's taken me this many steps, but today I got out on a trail ride. And having a group of people around you that understand that, it is really important. And I think that you know, a few little take homes is
I'm looking at these comments here.
I just saw something come in then. Let's have a look at that, actually, because it could be a really good one there. Let's see. After a difficult in-hand session with my horse and a meltdown, me in tears, I put the bridle back on and hopped on, walked him round the arena for 5 minutes. Yeah, there you go. Change it up. I once got advice from an incredible horsewoman called Katia Schumann. And she used to have a hat, and it said on it, if it's not working, do something different. And that's another thing that we do. I should be able to do this, so I'm just gonna keep going and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. It's like, no, stop, because you're just gonna absolutely wear yourself out, wear yourself down. And that's again where the 1% rule can come in. Yeah, there's some great stuff.
Good stuff. Kathy's comment, maybe our horses are actually too much for us. You're not as experienced for the horse in hand. Yeah, I
mean, it's there's a There's a lot in all of that stuff. I mean, it's, you know, I think having a community around you, and I think this is one of the most important factors in the Wise Riders Club, is having, you know, training and skill. We have the training library, which has so much incredible tuition in it, from in-hand work. Actually, there's an in-hand component to the coaching there. There's riding, there's groundwork, nutrition, knowledge. When we can empower ourselves with knowledge, it helps our confidence level come up.
Yes.
And it doesn't always have to be knowledge from an instructor on the ground. If you find an instructor like boots on the ground who relates to you and empathizes with you and understands you, fantastic. But this is another thing that I've seen through these people that are going through the free workshop at the moment, is a lot of people saying they just shout at me, or they don't understand me. So gaining knowledge is super important, but having community around you of people who go, you know what, it's okay to feel like that. It's actually can be good, can keep you safe.
I absolutely think that the vulnerability in the Wise Riders group of, this is where I'm struggling, this is what I'm striving towards. I think it's both accountability and inspiration. And I also think it gives a picture of, how can I do this differently? Right? When we read through those Wise Rider, post of members' posts, we get to see they tried it this way, or they tried it that way, or it helps us to get out of the little world that we live in that creates pressure upon ourselves because we think it has to be done X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And instead it brings some creativity back into it, which gives choice, and choice gives freedom from feeling trapped, and not feeling trapped alleviates the sense of fear. So there's so much in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. Thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come back to you shortly, but I'm going to bring Callie in now because it's time to give something away. Callie's gonna come on in here in a moment, and we're going to do our draw. But I just want to say, I think I should win the vest, purely because look at the state of that. That's outrageous. I'm embarrassed. So yeah. No, not really.
Well, there's more than just these prizes being random, because if you've gone through the training of the Wise Riders formula, you know that S stands for safety. So when we do things like wearing a vest, wearing a helmet, they're not only smart things to do in the case of if something doesn't go well, you've got real protection there, but there's also a level of feeling more safe when you're taking those steps to take care of yourself. And that's why I really encourage riders to wear a vest. I think sometimes in the past, and maybe in some barns, this exists more, where there's a bit of a, oh, I don't want to wear it because it'll make me look like I'm scared. But if you look at the top riders, and you look at the top people in a lot of competitive fields, even outside of riding and equestrian, a lot of times those top people are the ones that are protecting themselves the best. And it's not only when they're there in the competition arena, because they want to show up and they want to know that not only are they protected, but that they've just got that extra layer of confidence that protection can give. So we are giving away a Tipperary body protector. Don't worry, it's much newer than the one Andrea just pulled up. And
you can have mine, I'll swap.
Well, if you want to swap, let Andrea know. We'll do the swap.
You don't want
our
mine.
Winner, drum roll, is Sylvia Kohler. Forgive me if I pronounce your last name incorrectly, but Sylvia. So Sylvia is in with us live here today. And Sylvia, we will be following up with an email to get your sizing and your shipping information to send the vest.
Awesome.
So that's so exciting.
Yes, and this isn't the last prize. We've got one more. We've got a toxin helmet sensor. We'll tell you more about that. We're going to be giving that away at our end here. So
I never ride without mine. It's amazing.
Yeah, Yeah, I actually
Amazing.
found out about this through you, Andrea, and now I'm seeing it again in a lot of different sports. It's a really amazing tool.
A lot of mountain bikers. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Sylvia. I think she may have just popped in to the chat, but she said
Yes.
I've been, yeah, she's got it. She said thank you. That's great. I think, Callie, you really hit the nail on the head, actually, about the confidence piece of, I really used to resist wearing a vest and then a body protector. And I was riding a really young horse. And when I put it on, I felt better.
Mhm.
Therefore, and Physio Fee would back this up, she's in here somewhere, is, you know, the tension when you're nervous transfers into your body. You become rigid. Not only are you coming off your balance point at that point, you are also going to potentially G your horse up because you're suddenly tense. Whereas if you can wear the vest, I mean, if you don't want to wear one, don't wear one. That's fine. But if you do, and it helps you feel more confident, it will help you be more relaxed in your body, more balanced. Because you're more relaxed, the horse is calmer, you're less likely to fall off.
I've
You
got a
know,
great story about that one.
have you?
It's yeah, I wear a vest. I've worn a vest for the last year and a half. I have an air vest that I started with like a Tipperary vest and then ended up in this air vest. And I too feel this, like Callie, as you said, like kind of the security over. But here's another thing. I have been uncomfortable in my saddle. And I picked up at the used tack store a ortho cushion for the saddle that I started riding in, transformed my riding because I was guarding my seat bones and my lower back because how I felt in my saddle. And it was showing up in the rigidity of my movement in my pelvis, as well as where do you grip? What do you do with if something hurts? It's going to refer to another part of your body. And so my arms and my hands have gotten quieter as my seat has gotten more comfortable.
There you go. That's
Right.
fantastic.
So to the point of how our body is impacting our riding, therefore impacting our horse, cannot be not part
Exactly.
of the equation.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll tell you another funny story about an air vest. They are fantastic. And you have a little clip that kind of attaches to the saddle. Oh, they're fabulous if you fall off. Not so great if you forget that you clip to the saddle and you jump off.
Yes, I've heard this.
Done that. It's like, oh no, that was an expensive mistake.
Yes. Yeah. Has not happened yet.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
shocked.
yeah.
I'm
I go
shocked.
with the Tipperary because then I don't have to inflate myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are going to go back to a question that I have heard more than once. And this is kind of aimed towards, well, I was going to say the older generation, but it's actually any generation. But we have a lot of our members of the Wise Rider Club and people who are coming through the free workshop who are struggling with their families, where their families are saying, when are you going to quit? When are you going to be done with this? And putting a lot of pressure on them to stop riding, and they don't want to ride. I don't want to, everybody's family is different, so we can't talk to that. But do you have any general advice of how people can handle that?
Yeah, I think my heart just goes heavy on that. I think the most important thing to do in that situation, within that family unit and with those loved ones, is to ask them to share their fears with you. What are they most worried about?
Yeah.
Because it may be a worry that can be addressed, right? It could be in relationship, we want to respect and honor each other. And so there are times in relationships where there's like a give and a take. And so is the daughter about to have a baby and she's like, Mom, I need you there that 3 weeks after the baby's born. And if you fall off your horse this week, I don't know what I'm going to do without you.
Yeah.
And in that situation, can mom say, oh, I get that. If I empathize and put myself in your shoes, I'd be feeling that worry too. I
Yeah.
tell you what, we'll stay off the trails for the next couple weeks. I'll just ride in the arena with a buddy. And I promise you, I'll do everything in my power to not get on if either of us are off kilter that day.
That's really cool. That's a really, really good way of looking at it, because, people talk about, oh, they're trying to control me. And it's like nearly all control is rooted in fear.
Yeah.
So it's their own fears for you
Yeah.
because they love you. Yeah.
Yeah. We all have capacity. So like, this is not a riding situation, but like, well, this is. My husband's out of town for 2 weeks. I'm being a little bit more thoughtful about the risks I take and also more thoughtful about the risks that my kids are taking because we've been through a really hard season and I know I don't have capacity to handle another trauma right now, and neither do they. Now, some things are unavoidable,
Mm.
but taking my horse out into the neighborhood for the first time and he might spook because I'm nervous and he gets worried when I get worried, I'm like, yeah, this is probably not the 2-week window that I'm going to do that. We're just
That's
going to
right.
enjoy our rides in the
Not
arena.
yet. Yeah. Not yet.
It's not a not never. It's a not right now.
Yeah. Not right now. That's really great, great advice. I really like that. So I'm just looking into the webinar chat window, and Alison Thole had a great one. She talking about the what ifs. When the
Hmm.
what ifs start, I try to switch them to what if it goes well and visualize the best outcome. Love it.
Yeah,
That's exactly it.
that's
Uh,
it.
yeah,
It's called there are a couple ways to think about the what we call like the cognitive distortion. And so the cognitive distortion is like the always, the forever, the black and white thinking, the catastrophizing, and all of that sends us down a slippery slope. So in addition to that switching, okay, what's the positive of this? It could also be, well, what is the evidence of this? And you keep on
ah,
asking that question until you get to the bottom of it.
yeah,
People who are really good at catastrophizing and having like just a negative outlook or a fear-based outlook sometimes can't get to the positive. And so you
yeah,
could try taking yourself out of the situation and thinking how somebody else might think, which sounds really funny. Like, I could think of two people in my mind's eye, one who's a little bit more of a risk taker and one who's not. And if I find myself thinking as the one who's a little bit more, scared, I'll say, oh, I'm sounding like so and so. What would so and so say in this situation? Instead of
yeah.
trying to find the tape for yourself, borrow somebody's.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good thing, because there's a lot of people who we might admire or watch and think, well, how do they do that? But, sometimes just looking at a situation through potentially another set of eyes can really, really help. I'm
Yeah.
just, saw a really good comment.
Yeah. And I see a question too that I can respond to quickly. It says, I read that confusion is a legitimate stage of fear. Do you think that's true?
Oh,
Yeah. And absolutely, it's a stage of fear. Confusion is, I don't know what to do, right? I'm not sure. I feel stuck. I feel paralyzed. I feel trapped. I feel conflicted. And all of that is because you're trying to assess what is the smartest, safest, wisest thing to do.
yeah,
And in that case, sometimes just taking a few steps backwards and assessing what your options are. And I think you have that in Wise Riders. Like evaluation is
yeah,
is
evaluate.
that step. Like, and for
Yeah,
me in the Arise, it's strategize. Like, what are your options? What are the obstacles and what are your options?
yeah, yeah. I love that. That's a really good answer. Actually, it reminds me of uh, um, the Wise Riders Club has been going for 6 months already. I can't believe it. And we have webinars every single month with amazing trainers and people from the equine community, many of which have been my mentors. And I can't remember who it was, but I think it was David Lichman who said, never be afraid to step back.
Yeah.
Just step back and go, hmm, maybe not right now. Maybe
Yeah.
not right now. And then
Yeah.
just have a little rethink and try not to go down that route of, oh, I should, or whatever. It's like, that's what I love about the 1% rule, is it's like it gives you permission
Yeah.
to just break things down. But I like what Sally just said in the chat. The 1% rule has really helped me, but I do make sure that I'm progressing. The end goal is identified, and then we figure out the steps. That's exactly what the 1% rule is. Think
Yeah.
about what it is that you want to do. And, you know, goals are important. It is good to have goals. What do
Yes.
you feel about goal setting?
Oh, I have a love-hate relationship with goals. I find that as soon as I like kick off with a really great set of big goals and like we're gonna accomplish this, it feels like it never ever happens.
Sure. But if you
But
break it down,
yeah, what I do like is tracking. I like tracking. I like making a week, like I make a monthly plan. I use a growth tracker, which will be coming out with the Finding Calm course. I have a yearly vision that's very broad stroked. I have a monthly focus, and then each week I sketch out like this is ideally what we're going to do in terms of rides, in hand, liberty, connection time, off time. And then I reflect on how it actually went. And part of that is what did we learn and how did we grow? And literally, like for Cody and I, we've had a pretty horrible 10 months, like of a lot of trauma and chaos and health issues. And you were with me in the process of thinking, am I going to have to rehome my horse? Like his personality went out the window. And somebody said, what do you do if you're worried about your horse and not about you? I think that one of the wins of all that didn't go according to plan is how much more freedom I have in the planning. I
yeah,
feel a lot less pressure. Like we have gone through all of this and we have a strong relationship.
yeah,
We
that's the
have
main.
gone through all of this, and I was on a lesson horse and I was like, I have dramatically improved as a rider, not at all how I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah,
I think to summarize that, goal setting is good. Reflection is powerful.
yeah. And that's the E for evaluation.
Mhm,
Evaluate, am I on the right track?
mhm.
Maybe not. Okay, how do I change track or establish my goal in a different way? Yeah,
Yeah.
really cool. I was just reading something Sally said. I often think, what would Huey do? Huey is an old cowboy who bred my horse and has worked with horses his entire life. He's 72. That's wonderful. He always says, I do like a chuckle. And I find that if I'm taking it too seriously and then I laugh at things that go on with my horse, it helps me keep relaxed and happy. Absolutely, Sally. This is meant to be fun. You know, we've talked
Mhm,
about, sorry, I'm choking here.
mm,
We've talked about some big and heavy issues, but only in the way of trying to help you guys unstick your feet and move forward. And
mhm.
that's where the Wise Riders Club can really come in and help you because A, we laugh a lot. Oh my gosh, we laugh a lot. It's really, really important. We have incredible backup. And I think that is really important. If we can have really good education and backup through webinars, through the training library, that training can give you confidence to then track what you're doing with your progress, make your goals. And the community piece. I want to ask you, in your role, what is the science behind community around you when you're trying to thrive with horses in older life? What is the science behind it?
It comes down to the nervous system and the brain body connection. And so we were not designed physiologically to be isolated. Just like our horses need to
Yeah,
be in community and have herd mates, we're vibing off of each other's nervous system. So when we're around somebody that's calm, typically we can feel a little calmer. When we're around somebody who has really negative or anxious or fearful energy,
mm,
we could feel a little keyed up. I witnessed this in the last 2 weeks of two different individuals in the barn. One I knew was in a really sad place. I could feel her. And I was like, do I want to ask? Do I not want to ask? And I did. I said, how's everything going with this situation? And she's like, yeah, I'm really struggling. And it diffused the tension that was in the space as she
Yeah,
was
just being
vulnerable
able
with
to
me,
ask. Yeah.
right? Meanwhile, there was another situation, and there was a moody moment that was happening, and everybody was like a little on edge and a little like being careful where to step and where to move. And so we physically and emotionally impact each other. We impact our
Yeah,
horses and right back.
absolutely. And that's why I think it's really important to have, like with the Wise Riders community, it is a very safe community. It doesn't mean that we're just happy, clappy, and positive all the time. We do talk about, people are having a hard day with their horse, but what you will not see in the Wise Riders community, which you do get online a lot, and that is judgment. We have zero tolerance for that. So any of you who are thinking about joining, I want you to know that this is a safe community where you can share what's going on each day without the fear of someone judging you or telling you that you should be doing something different. That's not how this works.
No.
And Lisa's right, trying to do things by yourself. We saw this when we asked you guys a question about what holds you back when you're older, and a lot of people said it's being alone. Well, we have several members who were in that situation who are now posting regularly saying, fantastic, because I was able to talk through my plan with people, I can now start to move forward. So it's really important. And it made me think actually about, some of you probably don't know this, or a lot of you probably don't know this. I walked across Costa Rica from one coast to the other with a horse, a rescue horse. And initially, my plan was to do it alone. I was going to do it on my own, and it was going to be amazing. I would have got so lost and I probably would have died out there. But I managed to get others to do it with me. And we had a great feel as we crossed the country and navigated the twists and turns in life. And I actually wrote a book about it called Crossing Bridges, because it was a very poignant trip to me. And actually, I've just remembered we are going to be giving away to the first 100 people that sign up for this enrollment of Wise Riders. We are going to be giving you a copy of the Crossing Bridges book, so you can understand a little bit about being out of your comfort zone and taking on new challenges and doing that stuff. And there's a lot of the formula, the Wise and the 1% was built during that trek, thinking about things as well. So yeah, there's been a lot going on. Lisa, it's been great. I want everyone to stick around. We have another drawing for everyone that's been here. Couple of comments there. This all makes so much sense. Our horses must feel the same way. Absolutely. Mary Kay said she enjoyed the book, and thank you. A few of you have said that. So yes, the first 100 to sign up for Wise Riders, which we're opening today, will get the book. So Callie, we're gonna get you to come on in now and draw the sensor. This is amazing. And it's really non-invasive, just sits on your helmet here and connects to a app on your telephone, which I'm sure I can hear some of you going, oh no, it's so easy to work. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the toxin helmet sensor. And I'm going to actually put the name in here because while we have one lucky person who's winning it today, this is definitely something for everyone to look into. Like I said at the beginning of the call, I just heard about this through Andrea, and the community is growing that are using these sensors. And from what I understand, you can set them up in different ways. You set them up that it can contact an emergency contact, if you have a fall and the sensor is activated. You can also set it up to contact the community of other users. So that way, if there's someone else that's in the area that is using one of these, they'll get a notification, and it gets help. It gets help quicker. So it's another step that, again, really smart thing to do. And also it gives you that extra layer of safety and of connection. That's what I love about what technology can give us today, is just this ability to connect and support ourselves in ways that we weren't able to before.
Yeah, absolutely. Lisa, I just want to say thank you to you a minute just before we do that draw, because I'm going to be picking Callie's brains a little bit here at the end. So Lisa, thank you so much for being with us. Everyone stick around, because I've got some questions that I want to run past Miss Callie King here as well. So
Awesome.
Lisa, thank you so much. And Lisa is also a horse class instructor, so you guys will be hearing a lot more about her soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a huge blessing, and enjoy the giveaway.
Yes, thank you, Lisa, and definitely watch the horse class newsletters, watch the horse class space for more resources from Lisa coming soon.
Thanks, Lisa.
All right, so drum roll as we bring in our next winner, Peter Johnson. Congratulations, Peter. So we will also be in touch to find out your best mailing address and get a toxin helmet sensor sent out. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live. And we have a really exciting announcement. Wise Riders membership is opening. And this is really the first time that we have opened since the club was created. So we've now got 6 months of incredible webinars, 6 months of this community getting stronger, and the excitement, the emails that we've received of people that are already in the club that have been inviting others in and waiting for today, and that are really excited to see this community grow.
The wait is over.
Really exciting. Yes.
Yeah. It's such an honor hosting the Wise Riders group. The wisdom that's in there and the ideas that people share, and just helping ourselves move forward and keep moving forward, focusing on the positivity of being with horses, of supporting each other. It's been amazing, absolutely amazing. And I know, Callie, that you've been watching him from the sides. Callie hasn't obviously yet past 50, but as a lifelong horse, you've been a horse instructor for many, many years. You're one of the more well-known instructors in the country. And if there was one word of advice that you could give our wise riders about riding, what is something that you see us do as older riders that holds us back? I've been wanting to ask you this for ages, because you see so many people riding. What's the one thing you think that holds us older riders back a little bit?
I would say be willing to have fun.
Oh, love it.
Be willing to have fun. And sometimes that means letting go of the expectations of, oh, I need to be doing this, this, and this with my horse, or I need to be at this level, or I should be cantering by now, and just have fun. And if fun to you means going out and sitting in the sun under a tree and watching the horses, do that. If fun means that you want to practice your riding and you want to improve your riding, do that. But it's when we bring a spirit of, I'm doing this to have fun, because let's be honest, horses are not an easy activity. It costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of time and resources. We get really dirty. We can hurt ourselves. I mean, there's easier things to do. So if we're going to do it, let's enjoy it.
Oh, amen to that. I completely agree. And that, I have a fabulous sense of the ridiculous. And it's like, if you're not having fun, we need to help you out with that, because this is meant to be fun. And that is something that I've really seen through the Wise Riders Club in the last 6 months. It has been so much fun, so much education, so much about, how to do things, goal setting, fantastic. But ultimately, the backbone of it all is camaraderie and fun with people that get exactly what you're going through right now. And that is important. This way of being with horses, of struggling and, constantly striving. No, let's just make this fun. I absolutely love that. Thank you for sharing that.
And I've loved how that spirit of fun, it comes through to the webinar guests. So I'm always in the background on the webinars, helping to run the call, and do the background stuff like I was on this one. So I get to also be there and listen in for all of these amazing speakers. And we've had so many good speakers. Some of the names that I'm sure most of you will know. Jim Masterson is coming up. We've had Warwick Schiller. We've had Karen Roth, Linda Pirelli, David Lichman. And it's really fun to see these big names, if you will, people that we've seen at expos, people that we've read their books or watched them for years. And to see them come on where we've got this close group and this great community.
It's different.
And it's completely different than hearing them speak somewhere where there's a huge audience. And also, I mean, all of the people coming in to speak have also crossed that threshold of life, that they're in a different stage. And your honest questions and the questions that you bring in from the community to them of what has changed for you? How are you thinking different? What would what would you tell your younger self? I mean, those responses, they're absolute gold. And it gets pretty fun in those webinars too.
There are well, those of you joining will be able to access all of the previous webinars, and you'll see there's been some howlers, absolutely hilarious. But you're right, Callie, I really like how it's a different format. It's not like anything else. It's a different format. It's not necessarily a how-to, but the vulnerability in those big names who come on and say to me, yeah, I get it. I've had those times where I've just thought, don't know if I want to do this, and it's like, absolutely, we all, as we get older, things change and circumstances can change. And so to be able to have people around you who are there to understand, have fun and share with you, it's invaluable. It's absolutely invaluable. It's changed my life. I can genuinely say it has changed my life. I thought as a professional, I've been a horse professional for over 20 years. And when I was a bit worried about climbing up on young horses' backs, and I thought, well, this is it then. I'm finished. I guess I have to retire then. And it's like, actually, no, I don't. I just have to reinvent how I'm going to do things. And that's what we can help you do. Someone has just asked, is Wise Riders Club based around natural horsemanship? Absolutely not. It's based around absolutely any style of riding. We have Western riders there. We have dressage riders, natural horsemanship, people that only do liberty, people who compete. Absolutely all right across the board. And the guests come from all different walks of life. We've had scientists, behavioral scientists, body workers. We have the next webinar that we're doing is with Letitia Glenn, who, in my opinion, is one of the world's foremost experts on saddles and saddle fitting and the horse's biomechanics. And she's next on the 6th of June. So those of you who are joining us in the Wise Riders Club, as we said, it opens today, first time in 6 months, you will be able to be on that live call on the 6th of June. So you can get your questions ready for that. So yes, it's not all just natural horsemanship, right across the board.
So with that, I am going to officially open the doors. I'm going to put a link in the comments right now that you can go, you can learn all about what is included. We're going to be on here for a bit. So no rush, go take a look and we'll be here to answer questions that you have. I also want to say that I really feel this is something that's been important to me through horse class from the very beginning, is having our community, both of instructors as well as our students. We all care about doing the best that we can for our horses, and we care about growing and improving ourselves. And that's the commonality. The techniques can vary from instructor to instructor, so it's definitely not natural horsemanship, only natural horsemanship. There's so many different techniques, but when the principles and the objectives and the values are shared, that's what I feel really creates a strong group. And that's what's so different about Wise Riders Club, is it's bringing together this community of riders that are working through going into the stage of life that's shared and sharing some of the questions and the challenges with that, but are coming in from so many different backgrounds that it's such a unique sharing of expertise.
Absolutely. And actually, Julie from New Zealand has just summed it up. I would say it's based around good horsemanship. Absolutely. Good horsemanship is good horsemanship, drawn from everywhere. I love that about this group. Truly no judgment. We don't do othering. Absolutely, we do not.
Well
we don't
said.
do running down anyone, and we don't do othering. We are inclusive, and I love it. Thank you, Julie. That was very well said. Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you that are considering joining, to give you a broad picture, you can get all the details there at that link. You can also go directly to wiseridersclub.com. And anyone else that maybe you're thinking of as you were watching this, or if you've been going through the workshop and thinking, my friend so-and-so would really benefit from this as well, just tell them to go to wiseridersclub.com and they can get the details. But the club has a few kind of main pillars to it. So there's the monthly webinars with the guests. Also joining now, you'll get the library of past webinars so that you can go and review those. There's the monthly meetups, and these are personal with Andrea. And this is where it's a Zoom room. The participation in these is pretty incredible in terms of it's really like a tea time with other riders, like hanging out in the virtual tack room, sharing stories, sharing resources.
I love the meetups. I love them. They're so great. Everyone's so supportive of each other. It's brilliant. It's fun. We usually choose a topic as well each month, or someone will have sent in something that they need a bit of help with or they want to discuss, and we'll all just chat about it. But yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. We wanted to give everyone a resource as well for learning. So we've included the training library, which was a program that I used to offer completely independently. And right now we've got it only offered through Wise Riders. And it is a complete library of mini courses from everything from starting positive reinforcement training is one that we're featuring this month for members. We've got equine nutritionists doing basic courses there. We've got body workers. So we've got many resources, as well as event recordings from previous horse class clinics, and a lot of videos of, I call them real life training examples. So where I would be training even something like, helping a horse with trailer loading. Brilliant. And just, set up the camera and you get to watch what I'm doing. So it's a way to give you ideas, to give you resources. And we've got some, resources in there as well for tracking your skills, tracking your progress, if that's a good fit for you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fair to say, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of mini courses, trainings, event recordings there. If whatever question you have, you can pretty much go and find an answer somewhere in those training libraries, and you can always seek help from us as to where to go for that. And it's a massively important resource, because I really do feel that knowledge creates confidence, especially when you have a community to help back you up with it. Yeah.
And then even between the webinars and the meetings, we've got the forum. So we've got a private forum, and that's where the community, you can pop in there at any time. So you don't have to wait for the webinars or the meetings to connect. You can pop into the forums, share a success, share a question for the community. Andrea is often sharing part of her process with her own mare Brana, and different resources in there that you can go and access and comment on. So we really wanted to create this mix of a resource and learning, but with a community to help you apply this, and specifically applying it through the lens of where you are right now and what's important to you.
Yeah, I really hope you can join us. It's been so fun getting to know a lot of you in the free workshop, but there's just so much more that we want to share with you. Yeah.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us through the workshop, for being here on this live call, and we will be available. Check out the Wise Riders Club, all the details, and just let us know. You can reach out to support@horseclass.com with any questions.
Yeah, we'll be there to answer them. So thank you so much for being here. I've really enjoyed getting to know you all, and I really hope that this is just the start of our journey together.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys. Bye.